The world of saxophones is a magnificent place. Trust me, I've been doing this for 10 years, but let me tell you, there's tons of them, and you're going to need to know the one that's going to be right for you. Join me today as I tell you about the 5 levels of saxophone. Hi everybody, my name is Andrew King. We are here at Alamo Music. Don't forget to visit us at Alamo Music, where I assure you I have everything I'm going to be talking about today. So, saxophone, you want to play. Congratulations, it's a really cool choice. I really like it, and I'm sure you will too. But there's so many, and there's a lot of money involved. So let's talk about kind of where you want to invest your money depending on what you want to do, because there's kind of a lot of choices when it comes to it. And I'm going to kind of break that down to 5 levels. It's going to be a lot of talking, not a lot of playing today, but I assure you, if you are wanting to get into this kind of thing, this is essential for the kind of choices you want to make, especially if you're a student. I think this is kind of like, this kind of topic is something that is not talked about a lot, but this is the kind of thing you need to know. So, when it comes to saxophone, there's tons, right? The one I'm going to talk about first is going to be the first level. And this is what I'm going to kind of call the internet brand. The internet brand is the saxophone that you decided to type up in Amazon. It can be anything from Medini, it can be Cecilio, might be the in-between because I believe they're the same thing, I'm not sure. But these kind of instruments are basically these more Chinese-based instruments. They might be made somewhere else, but more than likely, Chinese-based instruments that are made in China, they're gonna come with all kinds of cool stuff. They're gonna come with a white glove for some reason, because you don't wanna get fingerprints on your new saxophone. They're gonna come with some reeds, they're gonna come with a neck strap and a swab. It's gonna come with the whole thing. The case is going to be nice, kind of more of a styrofoamy case. It's going to have a nice zipper on it. Everything's going to be good. Plus a bucket, so you can keep your music and stuff. It's really cool. The problem is that these things are not going to last very long. Unfortunately, because they're being sold for so cheaply, or less expensive more likely, because these are somewhat good quality saxophones on a level, what ends up happening is that they don't sell those instrument parts. So what ends up happening is, say you played it for like a year. Well, after a year, keys are gonna get bent. You might bump it on something. Something might happen to it. And the metal itself is gonna be kind of a weaker material, a cheaper material. And what ends up happening is you need to take it to the shop. Well, I'm unfortunately going to tell you that a lot of repair techs are seldom going to want to work on an instrument like this. Now, if it's just like a bent key or maybe like it's a dent or something, that sometimes can be fixed. It's not going to be a huge problem. So let's talk about it this way. Say something happens to your saxophone where you end up damaging it, right? If you got this kind of horn, the kind of more like $300 saxophone that's brand new off of Amazon, what ends up happening is, say a key breaks. Then you're going to take it to the shop, and a lot of techs are seldom going to want to work on those kind of instruments, and especially when it needs a missing part. Because more than likely, they're going to have to make their own, because the manufacturer is not just going to order their new part. They don't supply their parts. So you're going to end up paying for a part that's going to be as much as a saxophone probably, because the guy has to make it, and there's a lot of man hours when it comes to it. So if you're going to be an adult and you're wanting to kind of relive that dream of maybe going back to the instrument, or if you're a student or a kid and your parents want you to get into it, that's going to be kind of the only people I'm going to recommend these instruments to. They're good for the first year. That's my kind of rule when people are asking me about these kind of instruments. They work out great for the first month or two, especially if you take care of it in the right way, and they come with a lot of cool accessories that you could use. The reeds are okay, but really it's going to get you through the basics if you're going to be, focusing yourself and taking lessons. But there is a better option when it comes to these kind of instruments. Next up is going to be the student level of instruments. These instruments are classically going to be your Yamahas and Selmers. They're student level instruments, or student model. The cool thing about the student models is that they're made of pristine quality. This price is going to go up dramatically as well, but it's reflected in the instrument. The cool thing about this instrument is that a lot of the marketing and a lot of the businesses are going to be set up around helping you being able to afford these on a month-to-month basis. Most stores are going to be having a rental program around these instruments. So say if you wanted to get like the Yamaha, the YAS 200, or the AS 500, 400, 300, whatever Selmer is coming out these days, a lot of these instruments is going to be the instrument that for you and your student, especially on a long term. I think that they are perfect for anyone getting through middle school and high school, even especially marching band or anything above that. I think that that level of student, or maybe even an adult wanting to get into it and they have a little more cash to spend, this horn is for you. It's featuring much better quality metal, parts that can be ordered from the manufacturer, so if something breaks, you can totally get it fixed easily, and a ton of accessories that are going to be a lot higher quality than what usually is out there. The cool thing about these instruments is that it's going to come with a ton of accessories. So anything from the Yamaha 4C mouthpiece, the Selmer mouthpiece as well. Some of them come with a C-Star, which is going to be a high quality one. The reeds that come with it, like the Van Doren reeds or the D'Addario reeds, are also going to be great choices for these instruments. This is for the student that's going to be going into, say, a major school program, and the school is going to be usually recommending these for the reasons I listed before. Next up is going to be the intermediate models. These instruments are going to be much higher quality. The parts themselves is going to be something that I really recommend the most too. Sporting usually going to be having the high F sharp key in case you want to go up high, you know, want comfortable with the altissimo stuff yet. And the parts and the action and everything like that is going to be a lot more easier to use as well. The only thing different is that it's going to keep the body of the student model. So the sound and the bore and everything is going to be a lot more of the same, but it's going to be a lot easier to use. Because of the better action, the better tone holes, the better keys and everything, that kind of stuff is going to make it so that's a lot easier to play, and it can support a full airflow as well. When it comes to the saxophone, this model is going to be definitely for the higher achievers. If you're going to be going through middle school, especially at 8th grade, around there, this instrument is going to be basically the one for you. If you're going to be going to region band, want to take it more seriously, this one's going to be great. But that doesn't mean you should get rid of your student model. Keep the student model. Marching season's around the corner, and when you're doing that, you're going to kind of want that beater horn, and that horn is going to be the one that you want to take on the marching field. Once you're done with that, the intermediate is going to be great for concert season. Solo ensembles coming up, and you got region tryouts. So there's tons of reasons to keep it. The next one up is going to be the professional. The professional saxophone is going to be your YAS 62, your SAS 711. You're going to be looking at these entry-level professional models, and it's going to be great. The body is going to be made of a much more pure metal. The parts are going to have great action. They're not going to come up, they're going to come up much faster. It's going to take more finger strength to play through them. The neck is going to be special. The neck is going to have a much more larger bore, which is going to be basically the diameter of the inside, so a lot more air can go through. This is for the student that's definitely wanting to take it way more seriously and play out. Going to gigs, playing shows, maybe go to college, maybe become a band director. These are the kind of horns that are going to definitely get you far. And this could be your end-all be-all. Sporting a cost that's not going to be as much as maybe the elite models that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but having all of the amenities that are not going to get in the way. This is the instrument that's not going to get in the way of any player. There's going to be tons of useful facts about them and stuff like that you can find on their websites, but whether it's going to be the 62, the 711, or even one of the Axoses, this instrument is definitely the one that if you want to go into college and you want to take this way more seriously, I totally recommend it. For a lot of professional players, these instruments are going to be the last ones, but there is one level above that, in my opinion. I'm going to call these the elite models. The elite models are going to be the legendary instruments, such as the Super Action 80, the Mark VI, the Yamaha 875EX, the 82Z. You're going to go into the Yanagisawa lines like the AW10. These instruments are it. Sporting costs of $5,000 and up. These instruments are going to be everything that you need and more. This is when things get way more specialized too, especially if you're going to go into a specific kind of music. Whether you're going to be playing jazz or going to be playing classical, now these instruments are going to have kind of directional branches on a tree branch that weren't going to be on that first trunk that we were talking about going up on these levels. Whether it's going to be metal resonators for those jazz players, a bigger bore for those jazz players, or a better neck for the classical players, and tons of different options. There's going to be different things about these saxophones that different people are going to like, and at this point, this is when you should be trying out all of them. there's going to be a lot of different opinions about these two depending on the player that you meet. Everyone uses a different one. For me, I use a Yamaha 61, which plays more like a Yamaha 62 from back, like more like a Mark 6 and everything, but you can treat these more like an entry-level Pro. Then you got the more like the you're going to be looking at like the Yanagasawa, the AW10, which plays a huge bore and everything like that, and it's really sick if you can get that silver neck on it, or you can get the 82Z like the video that we did before. Those instruments are all going to be great, but the only thing is that the price are insane. Basically the price being $5,000 and up, and the materials that they're going to be made of and everything like that, and even getting one is going to be an issue too for some people. Manufacturers only make so many of them in a year, and a lot of them are going to be handmade these times for a lot of these. So I really recommend doing the research, checking out videos, going to see and play them. I always recommend for these kind of instruments to go into like TMEA, TBA, Chicago, going up to the Midwest Clinic, all these kind of things to go and try out these instruments before making the purchase. And if you can, buy them at the event. A lot of these instruments are going to have a lot of inconsistencies, especially the retro ones. Instruments like the Super Balanced Action, the Mark 6 are going to be way different across the line. That's when you get into those vintage instruments. The vintage elite instruments are going to have varying degrees of quality. So always do your research first. Well, I hope you learned something from this. I hope you had a good time. There's tons of different options that you can take, but if you have any questions about them, feel free to leave a comment. We have tons of people here that can help you out here at Alamo Music, and you can go to alamomusic.com where we'll have specific specs and everything like that on each of these instruments. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.